Yeah.
Let's get it going here. We had Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev. This was a fight that a lot of folks were looking forward to. Will, you said bet the house on Poirier going in this. I believe George and I received multiple text messages saying, guys, bet the house. Something about the moon's aligning and some type of eclipse
Look,
happening in some part of the world and all kinds of crazy things. And
going into
let's not
this,
forget the New Orleans voodoo.
look at this, dude. We got Dustin with the custom shorts. The arena is on Lafayette Street. You know that voodoo magic. There's rumors of staph infection of Islam going into it. My Panda Express fortune cookie said, "Root for the underdog."
No, you know
Not
what?
even a joke. I should have
No,
put that
true
picture in the slideshow.
story. True story. What day was it where I
I think it was
received a
Thursday.
picture from Will, and it was with George, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it said, "Guys, bet the house," and it's just a picture of an express fortune cookie.
Look, man, the stars were aligning for Dustin.
Hey,
He's
shout
never
out
lost in
Regen.
June. He's 6-0 in June going into this fight. All the things were working
You
for him.
pulled out all the stops when it came to this prediction. Oh
Yeah,
my
dude.
god.
It's a voodoo magic. Shout out Regen. But yeah, like going into it, look, you can watch the predictions episode. I was even talking, look, it's a terrible stylistic matchup for Dustin, but I gotta pick my boy ride or die. He's proven so many people wrong so many times.
Hey,
It's a fan pick. You know what I mean?
goosebumps as soon as the music kicked on for Dustin.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh my
Remember
god.
right, the guy that died, and then it kicks over to James Brown, and you're just like, fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, so good.
The shorts, I actually didn't like the shorts when they first unveiled them, but I was like, this is good for the sport, but I don't
Yep,
necessarily like this iteration. It
I'm liking him.
loved them. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I thought they were fantastic.
I'm
Uh,
liking him. Yeah,
person than on the UFC shop for $115.
yeah. So, I already bought 2. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, so quick thing. So let's get into the fight, right? Walk
Yeah,
up, you see Dustin just super pumped up. He's yelling as he's walking up. Islam's music kicks on with the generic EDM,
yeah.
and he's like walking out, and that somehow
Russian
always gets
trance
him
music,
pumped
dude.
up. Yeah, yeah. And then the one thing that Habib, that DC, all the homers, the Mahashev homers, right,
Yeah.
always talk about his striking. They
Mhm.
compare his grappling to Habib's, but they say his striking is much better than Habib's. And that first round, I was curious to see how much he'd be willing to trade with Dustin right off the bat. And he
Yeah.
landed a couple shots.
Yeah, immediately lands his left hand and then is immediately after that flurry. I thought the left hand landed nice, but then Dustin did a good job with his unorthodox guard, like cross blocking and stuff like that. He shelled up really well. But in textbook Dustin fashion, during that flurry was moving straight backwards while he was blocking those shots. And as soon as he hit the fence, Islam was on the takedown. And I was like, oh no. And then he got the takedown. And then I was like, no. And then he
Well, the
got the
setup
back.
was so beautiful too, though, for
Yeah,
Makhachev because he
it
landed
was
that
good.
right. And then the other thing with Dustin Poirier is that he's a freaking dog, man. And
Yeah.
Poirier is somebody that when he gets hit, he responds. So
Yeah, he
he
does.
lands that big right, and you saw Poirier just kind of bite down and got ready to like duck and throw an overhand, and then Mahashev just goes in for that quick takedown. I was like, oh my god, the timing of that takedown
Yeah.
was next level, dude.
Yeah, and he gets the takedown, he gets the back, and then for pretty much the whole first round, he's attacking the choke, and Dustin's fighting the hands, with him on his back with the body triangle. Islam doing everything right with the body triangle, where the top leg is hooking the left leg from Dustin. But Dustin did a great job defending and fighting the hands, and you kind of saw that with the fight against Benoit Saint Denis. Obviously, Benoit's not like a grappler like Islam, but he does have really good jiu-jitsu, I've noticed, and Dustin did a great job fighting the hands in those situations as well. And he survived that first round, and I was like, this is already very good. I mean, he lost that round. I actually scored that round a 10-8 for Islam, um, just because he cracked him early, took him down, took his back, threatened chokes the entire round.
By the way, he took his back by actually threatening with Kimura that seemed to be pretty
Yeah,
deep, right? So
yeah,
Dustin had
Dustin gave
no
up the
choice
back.
but to try to sit up, post up, and then try to turn into
Yeah,
that side, and he took his back. The other nice thing that Mahashev was doing was when he had him in that body triangle, he'd post up on his arm and act like he's about to try to take mount and roll into
yep, I
mount,
saw that too.
which made Dustin have to, take his mind away from protecting against rear naked choke. And then as soon as he did, you saw Makhachev fall right back into that body triangle and try to slip that arm
Yeah.
underneath the chin. It was just so
Well,
slick.
well, a lot of times right now, the defense in a lot of MMA to get up, you'll see a lot of people go to turtle and put their hands on the mat to stand up. And Islam, by threatening like he's going to switch from back body triangle or body triangle to the mount, it gives Dustin an opportunity to turn with him and end
Hmm.
up in the turtle and stand up. But as soon as he put his hands down to do that, Islam's like, "Just kidding, I'm back on the
So
back.
slick,
I'm trying to get
dude.
the choke." And but Dustin defended, but it
He
was very
defended
good.
very well. It was super
Yeah,
impressive. And all the will, all the wills of the world that were in the stands, all the wills of the world watching throughout the world, when he defended the rear naked choke and the end of the round came through, the crowd was cheering as if Dustin had just won.
Well, you know
It
what?
was nuts.
You know what else gave me some hope in that second round when he started defending takedowns, and
Yes.
not just not just defending submission attempts, but defending takedowns. That second round, Dustin found his jab. His jab started landing really well. Islam was striking with him very well, though. Even when Dustin was getting success on the feet, Islam was striking very well with him. Ganskow says Islam is by far a much better stand-up striker than Habib, but he doesn't have the same ferocity on the ground. Habib's ground and pound was mauling. Yeah,
Yeah. And I think
Islam's
his
very much
control,
more.
just his top control
Yeah,
was so
yeah,
much more dominant, right? Habib's, that is.
yeah,
Uh, yeah.
yeah.
And so
Hey, shout out
something.
Ghost, by the way. Says my favorite
Oh,
bit
what
is
up,
to
Ghost?
post that mock Maynard tweet whenever there's a dreadful card like this. Yeah, when he's like, honestly, tell me what's wrong with the matchmaking.
Yeah. And by the
But
way, we went through and we rated this card in the beginning. So
yeah,
Regen, Ghost, let us know between 1 and 10 what you rate this card and why.
yeah, I gave
But
it a
yeah, so
6.6.
I went
I think you gave it a
7.2 because of
7.2.
this main event. Yeah, I mean, it was for me, it was that good, right? Because I did expect a quick takedown, a quick submission from Islam. Seeing the Dustin defend that first round was also exciting for me. Now it wasn't will level, right? Like I
Yeah,
wasn't like
yeah,
holy smoke, but I was like, hey, if he can at least defend like this and get it into later rounds. And we've all
yeah.
seen Dustin Poirier be able to pull it off in the later rounds because he's able to dig deeper than most other
He's a
people
dog.
can, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and also, like I mentioned, the fans cheering like crazy at the end of the first round,
yeah,
like he survived, right?
yeah,
The second round is the same thing. Every single time he stuffed the takedown, everybody's like, "Ah!"
yeah.
Like he's going nuts. I was like, "Oh
Well,
my god!"
one of the things that was interesting about this matchup was the fact that they're both southpaws, right? So Islam doesn't have just that easy when you're a southpaw and you're a wrestler and you're fighting orthodox guys, their lead leg is like right there for you to just lean down and grab, right? Um, and that's not really there if you're fighting another southpaw. He can't just reach down and grab that lead leg. It's now across from him. He has to reach across. So like the
Mm,
entry for takedowns is going to be a little bit more difficult. Obviously, it's
mhm,
still Islam, so he's going to be good at it, but it is a little bit more difficult. And one thing that you can see clips of, I think actually Ghost reposted it, and that's how I saw it. But um, Dustin does a good job of punishing southpaws off their left straight. So like in the closed stance, they'll throw their left straight and he'll go over the top with his own right hook on top of it.
hey,
And
what?
one thing,
Why does
like,
Keith Peterson look like he's just waiting in line at a Starbucks right now? You know what
I
I mean?
know.
Like, look at his
Mean,
face.
meanwhile, they're clashing heads. Ghost
Yeah,
says 4 out of 10, and I'm being generous because watching through that slop was ghastly. Dustin versus Islam probably makes it higher, but not by much. Yeah,
yeah.
they really did save the event, if you can say it was saved. But Islam has been shown in the past, or he has shown in the past. Sometimes he'll get a little lazy with his left straight in the southpaw stance, and instead of bringing the punch back to a blocking position, he'll come down and bring it back up after he throws the left cross. And I was like, Dustin's got a good right hook. He finished Benoit with it. He dropped Chandler with it. Like his right hook is very good. And I was like, if he can get Islam to commit to that left straight, he might be able to counter him with that right hook. That didn't really happen in the fight. Islam was a lot more patient, and he wasn't
Mm.
really forcing the striking. And I mean, Islam's kind of been a counter striker himself a little bit. Um, but I mean, I thought the second round. I have to rewatch it. Watching it live, I actually gave that one to Dustin. There was a
Mm.
head clash here that broke his nose. There was a nice knee in the clinch right
And
after
was that in
that.
the second round or the third round?
That was the second round, where he broke his nose, but it was from a headbutt, right? So, And then he takes him down. He threatens the choke, but Dustin gets back up. I thought he did a very good job striking in that round. This is where Islam mounted him, and he used the fence to sweep him and then get back
Yep.
up. And as soon as actually no, that wasn't this part. Never mind. I'll talk about that later. But he gets back up from this, and his striking was working. Second round, toss up round, in
He
my
starts
opinion.
yelling after he gets
Yeah,
up from that. He starts
yeah, it was
yelling
sick.
at Makhachev and starts
Yeah,
telling
with the
him like, "Come
broken
on."
nose.
With the, yeah, just blood flowing out, man. You could tell that after that he was like, "Dude, I'm in a dogfight. Let's just do
Yeah,
this."
yeah. About to make this. I'm gonna make him have to fight in a dogfight.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think this was the round where at the end they went forehead to forehead, and they were like yelling at each other, getting all amped up after this round.
Yeah.
Because this was like, oh, we have a fight. This isn't gonna just be one way traffic, 10-8 rounds with Islam with back control the whole fight. Like we have a fight here. Um,
And it was like the most
third,
respectful end around forehead to forehead shit talking.
yeah,
It
it was
felt
sick.
like I
Yeah.
wish I could have heard it because they're probably like, "Hey, really good sweep," you know, and he's
Well,
like, "Yeah, you hit me hard."
they asked Islam what they said, and he was like, I don't know. I think we said let's go. I was like, all right.
Just so in the moment.
Yeah. But in the third round, I thought Islam took the third round. Really, I mean, just really good striking, really good takedowns. Um, kind of just a great dominant round, in my opinion, from Islam. The fourth, Dustin defends this takedown um, and potentially tears his ACL or something in his knee in this transition here.
He said
Um,
something, right?
yeah, this is him yelling at his corner right after that sequence. And then fourth, well, actually, this was kind of cool. If we can go back one picture, Rich. So he has the back body lock, kind of Islam, and he ends up getting a full back body lock. I just didn't put a screenshot in it. But it was cool to see Dustin switch his hips to the other side. Um, like see how his his butt is facing Islam's left, right?
Yep.
He ends up switching around, and while Islam's shucking him, he times the shuck to hit the switch,
Yep,
and
that was sick.
that's the next picture. Uh, Hitting a switch on Islam Makhachev is fucking unreal, in my opinion. That's like some basic wrestling 101 shit that like to hit that on Islam must have been like, God damn it, I cannot believe he just hit a switch on me.
I
But
think
then,
Khabib was like,
yeah,
"God
what are you
damn it."
doing? But then
Yeah.
the coolest part about it was he hits the switch and on the break, he uses it to break away. And immediately after they break away, he stands up. Islam's getting up and he hits him in the face with that elbow, and it splits his forehead open. And it's like that's the type of dog shit that you do is
Yeah.
when you can't just hit that switch and break and get your distance. Like you need to make him pay every time he gives you an inch, you got to make him pay right against someone like Habib. And Dustin did that so well. And I thought Dustin took the fourth round also. So I had it 2-2 going into the fifth, but it was a 10-8 in my opinion for Islam in the first. So I was like, Dustin probably needs to finish here.
Mm.
And I think the second round was pretty arguable. I think that's a coin flip round, depending on what you like. So I was like, I think Dustin needs to finish here in the fifth. Um, yeah, go.
Yeah,
Regis
also,
says, "Why you
you
have that
have,
at your corner?" Islam can clearly hear you. Hey, I'm compromised.
yeah, and then,
Yeah,
Dustin he says, "Dustin looks slow to me, man." Hey, and the thing with, not just Dustin,
he's
but I think
35.
most fighters that are going up against Islam is that there's that threat of the takedown at all
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
So I think that you're kinda conscious of that too as you're going through, and I'm sure
Well,
it impacts his strikes.
yeah, well, the first leg kick that Dustin threw, Islam took him down off of it, and it's like, dude, don't throw leg kicks. And then he also talked about after the fight, he was like, yeah, I know my corner was yelling that the knee is there because he keeps dipping away after his strikes, but I was just too worried that he was going to catch my leg if I need him, so I just didn't throw it. And you're like, yeah, that's what makes them so good, right? Ghost has agreed the switch was dope. He timed it nicely. Yeah, Islam was shucking him, and off the shuck, right when the reset of one of the shucks, he hits the switch. And I think Islam probably thought I could just keep doing this for a second. And he hits the fucking switch on him. But yeah, I thought the fourth round, Dustin, with that impact on the elbow, hitting the switch, defending takedowns, his jab
Also,
was
I
working
love
off of it.
the interaction between Dustin and his corner all the time. Like, just so
Yeah,
aware
talking with
of
him.
everything that's going on, talking with him. You know, I think it was Thiago, that had said something about like, "Dude, you need to trade more with him." And then Dustin
Yeah,
turned and looked, and he's like, "Can't stand in front of him for too long, man." And then he looks
yeah,
back, and then like he's just constantly talking to everybody in his corner, man. And that just that awareness at that time to think about the magnitude of the fight, right? and for you
Yeah.
to have the wherewithal to just be able to just respond to everybody, understand what's going on, still stay focused on the fight, listen to all your cornermen, just super impressive, man.
Yeah. You know what else was impressive? Islam is a monster in the clinch, and sometimes he'll throw his overhand like Fedor as the casting punch just to get the overhook. He's like, I'm not even trying to hit you with it. I'm trying to punch past you, and I'll get that overhook. And his knees in the clinch are so good. But Dustin, I thought was so strong in the clinch. It surprised me how strong he was in the clinch because we've
Hmm.
seen Islam just break people down in the clinch. And actually, right after that elbow, they kind of went forehead to forehead in the clinch, and Islam would keep going for the Muay Thai clinch here, like the plum clinch. And when he did that, Dustin just starts ripping to the body like
That
Strike
was
Force Nick
awesome.
Diaz. It was fucking awesome, dude. And Islam has to get out of there. It just you could tell Mike Brown, Thiago, Dustin, ATT really came up with a good game plan, and Dustin executed it extremely well.
Hmm.
It's just it wasn't quite enough because the fifth round.
Still the biggest challenge, though, of Mahashev's career. Would
Yeah,
you
the
say
first
this
Volk
one, or
fight.
would you say Volk?
I would. It's hard to say. I have to rewatch the Volk. It's been a while since I watched that. That was a good fight too. I think. I mean, I would say this is probably the toughest test for Islam. Islam had to dig deep in this one.
He
The
did.
Volk fight was very good, but it wasn't a dog fight. You know, Ghost
Yep.
says the knee is there, but if Dustin was reluctant to throw it, he could have just feinted it, then reset to make Islam hesitant and turn. Yeah, he could have also maybe
Mhm.
drawn out some reactionary shots from Islam. If he feints the knee and Islam shoots off that, he can maybe set up something off of an entry. Um, but hard to do in the mix, right?
Hey, by the way, so we're gonna start talking about the fifth round.
Yeah,
Somebody that had picked Mahashev to win this fight, I was a little concerned before the fifth round started because the body language and the facial expressions from both fighters
yeah,
said two totally different things, showed two totally
true.
different stories.
Yeah,
Seeing Dustin again talking to his corner before the fifth round started, and seeing him like stand up, energized, looking like he was ready to just go all in that fifth
yeah.
round, and then they cut the camera to to your boy
Islam.
Mahashev, right?
Yeah,
To Islam, and they're working on the cut. And I don't know, I think that's just always the look he has too. Like he's
yeah.
like kind of
That's good.
confused, or like I don't know. That might have
Yeah,
been it too. It's just his resting face. But it definitely
but
looked like Dustin was ready to go a lot more in that fifth round,
yeah.
just based off body language. So I was a little worried before it started.
Well, Dustin's been here before. He's been in tough spots and he's come back, right? Islam hasn't
Hmm.
been tested that much in his career, only by USADA. But then
Damn.
the fifth starts and Dustin's defending takedowns well. He's fighting well, but at a certain point, Islam gets a single leg and Dustin can't turn out because before he was able to turn out and pull his leg. Just you got to turn away and rip your leg out like he's trying to do here, kind of. But Islam had it tucked between his legs. He had a good grip on it. Eventually, they're in that position a little too long. And can you go back to that picture, Rich, real quick? He's in it too long. And I was at my brother's house watching with some people, and I was like, dude, you can't sit here because Islam will chain on you. You have to disengage immediately. And he was stuck though, I guess. And Islam separates a little bit. Dustin tries to throw like a punch, and as soon as he does that, Islam hits him with the ankle whip, or single leg
That was
whip,
so
whatever you want to
sick.
call it. Right? Um, really good shit. And it knocks him off balance, and Islam is on him immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately on him. The worst part is he threatens with the guillotine to chain into the Darce, and that's how he gets it. He starts it with a guillotine. And I was like, "Oh my god!" And then, first he goes for the guillotine. I'm like, "Oh, he's not going to get this. This is good, but he might end up on top." And then he switches to the Darce, and that was it. And in the next picture, you'll see him. If Dustin, what he wants to do here is get his hips back. He wants to get his hips and scoot them back. And if you can lay in a line, um, you want your belly as far away from their belly as possible in this position, basically. You want to be in a straight line, body to body with them. You don't want to be like this. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but look what Islam's doing with his legs.
Tucking it.
Yeah, he's trapping Dustin's legs so he can't hip out. He can't get away. And he taps and then goes to sleep right as he taps. brutal.
Yeah, he was out.
He was out. His
Look at
head
this
down.
picture.
Yeah. It was a tough fight for Islam, man. He had to dig deep in this one. He did.
He really did. And Habib afterwards was saying, like, this was so good for Islam. Like, he learned
Yeah,
something
you
about
need these.
himself. He learned something about what his body could take. Like, he needed this, right? And
Yeah.
hearing that from Habib's pretty big. Islam, uh, I think that for his legacy, he needed this
It's cool to see
because
Habib back and coaching, and it's cool
it
to
is.
see Islam thriving in those situations with him. It is cool.
Gantiao says, I miss Habib. Look, I
Yeah.
do
And
too.
shout out Usman, who wasn't even in his corner and jumped the fence and ran over to him as soon as they
Oh,
separated him. And then he
is
got
that
kicked out.
why? Is that why the security rushed in and like pulled
They
somebody
kicked him
off? I
out.
didn't see who they pulled him off. It was him that they pulled off.
Yeah, and they kicked him out of the arena.
Oh, they kicked him out of the arena. Oh
Like, bro, you can't
no!
just be running in there, dude. He wasn't even part of the corner.
Classic.
Yeah,
He's
they're
like,
like, come
no, no,
back to
no, I know.
PFL and Bellator. But
That's
yeah, very cool to
hilarious.
see the respect between them. Islam, this is a very, very good entry on his resume, like you were talking about.
Yep.
A step towards greatness, having fights like this. The gloves, hilarious. That the first time using the gold gloves, the UFC's peeling off of them. I think Islam's, but at the end of the fight, I think it just had the U on it. Like, I think there's a picture in here of them putting the belt on him. Maybe I didn't put it in where you can see it, but yeah, I mean, it was a great fight. Great
Very
fight.
good fight.
Dustin's
Yeah,
talking
and
about
then
retiring.
I was gonna say for Dustin, what's next? You know, he had mentioned that he's been doing this for a very long time. I think he said 50 fights. You know, if he's not fighting for the title, then does he really want to go through and try to get another fight win streak going to see if they even offer him another title shot?
Yeah,
He's got his wife and his daughter to think about. Man, if he does leave,
not a
I
bad
know
way to
that
go
he
out.
didn't win, but it's not a bad way to go out. Exactly,
It's not.
right? He's still considered one of the best in the division, right? He gave the pound for pound number one ranked fighter in the UFC right now all he could handle.
Not if you talk to Dana.
Um, yeah. Dana's like, what are we doing here? Let's talk about John
Dana's
Jones.
like, it's like, you guys remember John Jones, my boy?
Oh,
I know he doesn't fight ever, but do you remember him?
it's so funny. But yeah, so for Dustin, it wouldn't be a bad way to ride off into the sunset after this.
Yeah, not at all.
Oh,
Yeah, we got the scorecards. Eric
ooh,
Colon had it 39-37 for Islam. He gave Dustin round 2. Sal Diamato did not. He gave round 4 to Dustin. Chris Lee had my scorecard besides the 10-8. He had round 2 and 4 for Dustin. So the majority of judges gave him round 2, and the majority of judges gave him round 4, but he was losing on 2 judges' scorecards somehow. But
yeah,
that's how it shakes out.
that's how it is. All right. Well, look at that picture, by the way.
The dog.
Oh
Dustin.
my god, I love it. It's such a good picture. He needs to frame that, put it in his man cave.
Yeah.
Such a good picture.
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody, thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.